In 5 minutes I want to start.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, not for you, in general.
Yes, it's better. You better closer when people, especially people from home, it's a bit early, 9 o'clock maybe.
It's the only solution. It's a very dense day, no? As you know. Okay.
And I will not stay for a long time, but I will
Okay,
stay
don't worry.
for. I know, because there's too many things going on at the office.
Yeah, I imagine. June is always a complicated moment. The slides.
Posso mettere qua?
Try now.
Are these guys?
The slide. No.
I will go there.
Thank you.
Non so se lo a caso.
No, hai fatto bene perché così c'è l'inquadratura migliore. Se ci mettiamo là è una schifezza.
E per le slide mi prendo il mio computer per guardarlo. Cioè, ovviamente non me lo
Non ti preoccupare.
professionale.
Queste qua poi te le puoi prendere. Sono power bank.
It's working.
Ok, thank you. Ok. Leave this one.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Davide Brizzolara from the European Research Executive Agency, and I'm happy to welcome you for this, let's say, second day of our long event. That is mainly, the training for stakeholder today and the pitch event, so followed by the brokerage session. I want to welcome you, on behalf of the European Research Executive Agency, and also I take the chance to thanks all the organizers, in particular SEREN5 and the coordinator Flavia, for the collaboration that helped us to have these two days, for helping. I hope that it will be, and it was already useful for the potential applicants to the call that will open soon on the 27th of June for our cluster 3. I think that this will be a very dense day. We have many things planned, so I give back the floor to Flavia for starting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Davide. Thank you for the opening. Welcome also from me. This is the second day of the Info Day of Cluster 3, as you know. As Davide anticipated, it's a very dense day. We have this training for stakeholders. As usual, you can participate via Slido, so if you have questions, you can write on Slido, and we will answer to your questions during the dedicated part of the event. This training will touch different or horizontal issues in Cluster 3. First of all, the SSH integration. Then we will have a focus on the impact pathway, thanks to the participation of SEREN5 partner. Then we will have a focus on communication and dissemination, and we will close the event with a focus on the services for stakeholders provided by SEREN5 and the Wider Net project. So now I would like to introduce the first speaker. So Mikolaj, the floor is yours. He's both partner of SEREN5 and Net for Society. Let me just say that the training is organized in conjunction with, in collaboration with other two NCP's networks, so Wider Net and Net for Society. So please, Mikolaj, the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you very much, Flavia. Good morning, everybody. My name is Mikołaj Pyczak. I am actually wearing two hats today. I am a Cluster 3 NCP, so for Civil Security for Society, but I am also Polish national contact point for Cluster 2, which is Culture, Creativity and Inclusive Society. And what I wanted to speak about today and introduce you to the issue and task of integrating social sciences and humanities in Cluster 3 calls for proposals, which are, as Davide mentioned at the beginning of this session, due to be opened in late of June. But before we go into details on how to include SSH organization and SSH expertise. Maybe for the start a bit of a policy background, because social sciences and humanities have been already present in past framework programs, starting even from FP7. But in the course of 7 framework program and then the follow-up of Horizon 2020, it was very clear that social sciences and humanities can no longer be only a separate part of the program, but given their horizontal approach and very wide area of expertise, it has been deemed for Horizon Europe that social sciences and humanities should be multidisciplinary and present in most, if not all, areas of current framework program. So the idea was that they should be integrated in all the clusters, in all the pillars, even in the missions, as it was recognized that social sciences and humanities are a key constituent to research and innovation in many various fields, but especially with regards to green transition, digital transition, and interaction with society with regards to what actually the proposals and the calls are meant to deliver. So why? What was the rationale? What was the questions to be answered when it comes to learning why do we need to integrate social sciences and humanities in Horizon Europe? So first of all, a need for a human-centric focus in the research, because the technical solutions, the pure technical solutions, were deemed not enough for what the Horizon Europe had strategically planned for all the areas. So there was also a need for developing solutions with clear social relevance, meaning that the projects will take on board what the society needs for them to deliver, what will be relevance for the society, what will be the benefit. And also social sciences and humanities will help the research and innovation projects to better integrate the societal impact and to even better engage with society and for society as well. So the whole term of social sciences and humanities integration has been identified and then developed by the European Commission, and in general it refers to providing multidisciplinary or transdisciplinary research with different heterogeneous groups of actors from very, very wide array of social sciences and humanities sector, which I will be referring very shortly about. So there are different thematic specialties, different methodologies and approaches that will provide the technical parts of Horizon Europe with this socio-economic and humanities approach as well. So, as I said early in my presentation, for the previous Horizon 2020 framework program, the integration of social sciences and humanities was a cross-cutting issue only, and was only a part of the whole framework program. But right now in Horizon Europe, it's not only a cross-cutting issue, but also a research principle, meaning that in many, many calls and many topics of those calls, there are specific topics and specific areas within them that have been flagged with a need of intervention from the community of social sciences and humanities. And this is also very clearly written down in the call texts, in the topic texts, that there is a very big need for and expectation for societal impact of the proposals. So basically this means that you might expect to have the need for involvement of social sciences and humanities in all the pillars of Horizon Europe, and also in the widening part for the strengthening of the European research area. In most of those calls, there are topics that have been flagged by the European Commission with the need of intervention from experts and organizations working in the field of social sciences and humanities, and they can be really, really different, starting from the human behaviors, well-being, but also to legal issues, demographic issues, economic analysis, and so on and so forth. So basically, social sciences and humanities can provide a very wide array of expertise that might be also very beneficial for proposals that are being prepared as well for the cluster 3 calls for proposals. So why to include? As I said, in many cases, the European Commission explicitly calls for SSH expertise in the topic texts, meaning that there are topics that have been flagged by the European Commission, and this means that there is a specific need that SSH research will be an integral part of the expertise that will be needed to deliver results that are also of very big societal impact. And this also means that topics that have been flagged with this need for SSH integration have to contain a very meaningful and integrated contribution from those institutions. I will further refer to this, but right now I can tell that if a topic has this flag, this means that consortia need to include institutions with expertise on SSH research, and their involvement in the project has to be meaningful and to comply with what has been written in the call text. So depending on the topic, it might be relevant, and the intervention of social sciences and humanities might be relevant and indispensable. And also, on the other hand, what expertise, the kind of expertise that SSH community can provide can lead to very new, different findings and approaches and solutions that wouldn't be otherwise thought through by the consortia only focusing on the research and innovation part of the clusters calls, for examples. So, and also with topics that have been flagged, if the consortium takes on board this kind of institutions from the SSH community, and also if they have been widely involved in the preparation of the project and the work that has to be done, they have much better chances when it comes to evaluation of the projects during the call evaluation phase. So obviously, once the consortium decides to integrate such institutions within the proposal, they need to be involved and they need to be taken on board when it comes to all the areas that are being scored on, evaluated by the evaluators, which is the excellence, the impact, and of course the implementation. So the consortia need to be aware that the involvement of the SSH community, of the social sciences and humanities, has to be as broad as possible, and it needs to reply to what the topic call topic provides within the description of the work that has to be done by the SSH partners. So the flagging that I have been mentioning is the instrument that the Commission provides for the calls to ensure that the involvement of social sciences and humanities is adequate to what has been requested by the call text. The flagging is present in all clusters, but cluster 2, which is basically social sciences and humanities oriented. So in clusters 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6, there are topics that have been flagged by the European Commission. And to make things easier for the potential applicants, there is a specific terminology put into the call text, into the topic text, some words and phrases that will help you to identify what kind of social sciences and humanities research and intervention and what kind of institutions should you take on board if you decide to prepare a proposal for the topic that has been flagged with the need of SSH intervention. Moreover, for those flagged topics, there is a very specific wording that you have at the bottom of the screen, that this specific topic requires the effective contribution of SSH disciplines. This means that the consortia basically need to take on board social sciences and humanities institutions, expertise, and that they need to provide meaningful role and tasks for them in order to also succeed during the evaluation phase of the proposals. how to know if a topic is flagged besides the text that has been put on the previous slide. Basically, when you read the call topic, you can ask yourself two questions. Is both the terminology for social sciences and humanities and some questions oriented towards this area included in the scope section of the description of the topic? And also if there is a question about, if there is a wording about the need for the consortium to require social sciences and humanities partners. And if you basically can answer yes to both of those questions, then you can already know that this topic has been flagged with a need for social sciences and humanities intervention. So, as I said, there are topics that have been dedicated and basically for SSH intervention, and basically this is the whole cluster 2. And there are topics with SSH components in other areas, in other clusters of Horizon Europe. Also for the missions, most of them have a SSH dimension, so there are plenty of opportunities to involve such partners in the projects, and of course keeping in mind that there has to be a good balance between the STEM and SSH partners in the consortia. So I was referring to some terminology. This can be found while reading the call texts, and then this terminology, this wording can also provide you with some hints on the extent of involvement of partners. So this can go from very marginal, just to take into account taking into account some SSH aspects in the project, all the way to requirement of some effective contributions from social sciences and humanities, or to requirements of including interdisciplinary approach with effective contribution from SSH. So it is really important to very thoroughly read the proposal, the call text, to know if and to what extent the SSH integration is required in your particular topic of interest. So how to look and how to locate the SSH topics? Obviously, the funding and tenders portal would be the first way to go. You can filter out obviously all the calls that you are interested in, and then there is this quick this will be seen. There is this quick search profile, the red box at the left bottom part of the screen, where you have many different filters that you can use to filter out specific call topics, but you can also use this to filter out the topics, for example, from cluster 3 calls that you can that have been flagged by the European Commission with the need for SSH intervention. Also, on the other hand, you can use the funding and tenders portal to find partners from social sciences and humanities. Links are provided here and will be available in the presentation, but basically you can again filter out the programs, filter out the calls. You can narrow down your search to a specific country or specific profiles of institutions that you might be looking for. Also, another way to find partners, should you decide to prepare a proposal for topic that has been flagged with SSH intervention, is to obviously take part in different NCP networks brokerage events like the one we have today. For example, the Cluster 2 NCP network also has their own community portal that provides you with over 2,000 potential partners that you can use for your Cluster 3 proposals. So you are very much welcome to use also the community portal for Cluster 2 and look for the partners that you want to include in your proposals. So maybe for the sake of time, because we are already a little bit, so some short tips on how to, what to remember about when you decide to prepare a proposal that has been flagged with the need of SSH contribution and expertise. So first of all, please remember that if you decide to do so, you cannot overlook the involvement of such partners, because this will be also very much taken into consideration by the evaluators when they actually read the project that you will submit. If the topic has been flagged, there you have to prove that you have taken on board partners and their expertise in the field of social sciences and humanities, because otherwise the scoring will be not in your favor potentially, because you haven't included actually the expertise that has been requested for in the topic text. So they have to be involved in all the aspects, both of the work and the financial aspects of the proposal. They have to have sufficient budget, sufficient work plan, and tasks and activities that they will provide you with for the expertise that they bring into proposal. So for some supporting tools and services that you might use in your future endeavors, we very much welcome you to visit the Net4 Society, HE, which is for Horizon Europe. This is the new network of Cluster 2 NCPs, where we provide you with some tools and services, but I think the most relevant that you really might use is the Social Sciences and Humanities Opportunities document. This is basically an extract of all the work programs currently for the work programs of 2023-2025, where we analyze all the topics that have been flagged by the European Commission with the need of SSH intervention. We take out from those topic descriptions all the key information that relate to what kind of SSH expertise is needed, and we put it in a very comprehensive document that you basically can only read and know what kind of expertise. You have extracts from the topic texts that are, SSH specific and provide you with information what kind of work and what are the expectations from the SSH community in terms of every different call topic from the Cluster 3 work program, and also some keywords that we provided when it comes to aiding you, helping you to know what kind of institutions to look for from the fields of law, criminology, ethics, or social and behavioral studies. So we have prepared, actually this document has been updated 2 weeks ago with the revision of 24 and 25 work programs that has been lately provided by the European Commission. So those topics included for the current 2024 of Cluster 3 calls are most up to date. So feel free to download the opportunities catalog, feel free to use the information that has been provided for the current calls, and if you have any questions regarding how to find partners or how to better integrate them in the proposals, you are very much welcome to reach out to our Cluster 2 NCP network for some further assistance. We also have some fact sheets with good practices from previous framework program on how to successfully integrate SSH community in different calls. So you can also use those fact sheets to better learn how to efficiently do this. And of course, we very much welcome you to make good use of both the SEREMA, the Security Research Map, and the Cluster 2 community portals, which will allow you to find partners for your projects. The last couple of slides is just for those of you who would be even more interested in knowing how the SSH integration has been progressing through previous framework programs, is that the European Commission has recently published the final monitoring report for the Horizon 2020, providing with very extensive and comprehensive information about integration of social sciences and humanities in previous framework programs in different areas, in different societal challenges, even with some examples of successful integration, for example, in the societal challenge that related to civil security and society. And last, just for those who wish to learn more about how to prepare interdisciplinary proposals, projects on how to better integrate interdisciplinarity into their work, There is a Shape ID toolkit that provides different tips and different guidelines for the researchers, but also for other organizations that will further help you out with carrying on interdisciplinary research, for example, between the STEM and SSH communities. So this will be all for me. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mikolai. I think that participants find very useful the training, the first part of the training, so your presentation, especially regarding the tips on how to find SSH partners, SSH people to involve in the projects. We received 2 questions on Slido. But I think they are very generic, and especially for one of the questions regarding the services for small and medium-sized enterprise, I will elaborate the answer in my presentation at the end of the training. And the other one, how do you define researcher? I don't know, Mikola, if it's possible to answer from our side to this question, because a researcher is a researcher. I don't know how to define honestly.
There are some official definitions.
Yeah, there is not an official definition. Is there someone in the room that has a question? Otherwise, we can go on with the second speaker. Okay, nobody. Now I would like to introduce you my colleague Valeria Mingardi. She is a communication manager in APRE, the Agency for the Promotion of European Research in Italy. Her presentation will focus on dissemination, exploitation, and communication plan in Cluster 3 proposals. So, Valeria, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the introduction. My name is Valeria, and as Flavia said, I work in APRE, and I follow different Horizon Europe projects for the work packages regarding communication, dissemination, and exploitation. Just a quick, let's say, background context. From Horizon, the previous, let's say, funding program to Horizon Europe, we saw more attention given to the work package of communication and dissemination. That is not only some mandatory activities, but in the proposal phase, there is a huge impact for the evaluation, since the objective of this work package is to maximize the impact of the research and the results. I would like just to have a short reminder about the difference between communication and dissemination, and probably most of you already know what it is. Communication is focused on the activities and the results that the project implements, while dissemination is the use of the project results. And a common mistake is to think that communication and dissemination involve different target groups. In general, it is true that dissemination activities are more focused on users, and communication activities can be more broad, but we also have to understand that they are tightly linked. I put here an example regarding KPIs, because we have different KPIs regarding communication and dissemination because we have different end users. For example, a project website can have 2 KPIs. The first one regarding page visits, and the second one is downloads of guidelines. So I would like to ask you now, in your opinion, which one is the KPI for communication? You can show hand if you think it's the first one. Okay. So the other ones think that the first one is for dissemination. I take it. Okay. So the first one is actually about communication, because we are just considering the page visits that it is difficult to differentiate who visits our project website, while the second one is download of guidelines. For example, if our project has I don't know, as I said, some guidelines as a result, then we are more targeting more to a particular users. So it's always a useful exercise to try to understand the difference. Since we are on KPIs, this is a very difficult topic for communication and dissemination because in general, I saw many mistakes regarding KPIs. They are a bit difficult to estimate as different projects have different topics, different level of technical aspects, and a different reach. So as a tip, we can say when writing your proposal, you have to be realistic. So not to expect that a project will reach 10,000 followers. Of course, it is possible, but something that it can be useful is to understand the topic of your project, try to find a similar project and see which number have been reached. This way you can understand where the communities that already exist that you can, let's say, exploit to promote your results and promote your project. And this way you also, as I wrote, are realistic and you can understand how is the level of interest and also how many other projects exist with a similar topic that you can also have synergies with and maximize the impact of your activities. The last point is about alt metrics, which are, let's say, alternative KPIs that do not concern only, let's say, numbers in terms of how many people visit your page, how many followers my social media account has, how many downloads from a particular website, but they are also analyzing the impact of research in greater society. So, for example, if some articles from newspapers cite your research, or if other researchers are viewing what are you doing. And these are very interesting. They are also a bit difficult to use. So they can be very useful and have a positive impact, but it is also necessary to study them a bit more. And here I also put a link, but we cannot, I think, use it now. Yes, so this is something that when planning activities, it is important to understand that communication, dissemination, and exploitation are very specific activities, and a mistake that is sometimes made is to not involve people who are specialized. In general, in the proposal writing and in the implementation of activities, you would need the communication manager who understands the timeline, the time frame that you need, the type of products that you can develop, designers, so people who have the expertise to implement the brand identity, logos, because as we all know now in our society, images and videos are the most impactful tools that we can use. So we also have to plan for this part of the let's say activities. And then developers are necessary if we are planning to have a website or other digital tools. And these roles are in general working as a team. It is difficult to find one person that has all of these skills, but in general it is a very let's say a work that is very dependent on team and working together. When we are planning the work package, one thing that if you have to remember something, it is this, that you need to tailor. What does it mean? Is that we cannot have a blanket approach in which we want to write a proposal and then we apply the same methodology in different, for example, topics. Because for communication and dissemination, what works is to understand the message that you want to communicate, to have a clear message that has a tone of voice, so a particular way that I express myself in terms of terminology, of words, of images, the target group to involve, and the communication tools to use. All of these elements are key to have a tailored work package that is specific to the people that I want to talk about. In terms of message, for example, many times the message of the project is the topic, but in most cases the topic is too broad to talk about for communication activities, and in general it needs to be adapted to the target groups. And the target groups is also something that needs to be tailored, because for many cases the target groups of the projects are the target group of communication, which is correct. But if we want to have an effective communication strategy, different target groups need different tone of voices. So if I'm talking to the broad civil society, I have to understand that I cannot use too many technical terms, otherwise I will not be understood. While if I'm talking to academia or researchers, then I can be more specific. And for this, we need also different communication tools, so different communication channels. And something that I always try to bring as an example is social media, because in general everybody uses them. And some mistakes that are very common is to just have one message that is spread across different social media, but different target groups use different social media. For example, LinkedIn, I can be more specific. I can write articles because in general is linked to work-related topics, and my audience will be more of the sector. While if I want to have a Facebook account, I cannot share the same things because I will not have the same results. So in general, it needs to be planned for this type of tailoring. Okay. No? I think maybe there is a mistake. Okay. So as I said before, the target groups are very important, and they need to be clear from the start, from the proposal. And they also need to be correctly identified. A suggestion is to write or at least try to develop a target group map that identifies the audience that I want to involve. And many times it happens that we have many target groups that need to be involved. And in this case, something that can be useful is to differentiate between primary and secondary target groups. And this way I can understand which ones will be the people that I want to address and that are will be more involved, and then we can have a second, let's say, more general communication strategies that is still useful to let people know about what you're doing and the project activities, but are not the core, let's say, of the effort of the work package. So yeah, I think I already mentioned about the engagement tools. And connected to the target groups is also the tone of voice, which I was talking about earlier. And if you think about it, it's very natural, because when we speak, we do not speak with different people the same way. So if I have to meet someone that, let's say it's an official meeting, then I will use language. If with my family, with my friends, I use another type of language. And a common mistake is to, for example, use the same language across all of my activities, but it doesn't make sense because we are not, if you are not targeting the same group. Okay. Regarding communication channels, the first choice on which one to use should be done already during the proposal phase. And it is a very, very common mistakes that at least in some projects, we try to open as many social media accounts as possible, but this can be a huge waste of effort, because then you don't have the time to build a correct strategy for each one of them. And this takes time, and it doesn't pay off in the end, because maybe you are building a strategy that works really well on LinkedIn and you have a lot of success there, but then, I don't know, on Instagram, it's a completely different channel, so it doesn't have the same reach, and then you end up wasting a lot of time trying to build up everything, and it doesn't pay off in the end. To choose which communication channels we want to use, it is important, as I said before, to have in mind which target audience we are reaching. And to do this, it is useful to know the demographics that use different channels. And this is a research that it's very easy to make. You can use any let's say search engine to know which channels are most used by which demographics. And in general, this part it is part of the target group map. So this is why it is important to have an idea to who you are going to talk about. So if in general, the idea is if you have fewer accounts or fewer channels in general, you are able to have a more targeted strategy that it's way more effective than a broad one that does not involve the people you need to reach. Just a few words on the brand identity and the visual identity. The brand identity is of a project. In general, this part is done after the project is approved, but it is a good idea to also start thinking about it during the proposal phase. And it's basically what the audience will see. And it's not only visually, but also the tone of voice that you use and the type of words you use. While for example, as I put naming and the storytelling, and it is what stays in the mind of the audience when they think about your project. And the visual identity is more of the graphic part, and I want to stress that it is very important. Visual identity is very, very important because if you think about how we communicate these days, mostly is through images, videos, colors. So I would suggest to spend time planning about this part. Here are just a few products that usually are developed during for projects to have a visual identity. So the logo, of course, is the first thing that is very recognizable. But as I said, colors, the fonts that we use, all of these elements need to be coherent throughout the whole project. So it builds the recognizability of what you are trying to communicate. Regarding the proposal, another point that it's complicated to manage is the budget part. And from our experience in general, it is a bit underestimated for communication activities. It is usually the last part that it's built. But as I said before, it needs to be tailored for the activities you are planning. What can be done is to build, let's say, an internal table with all of the activities that in general are required, and then tailor them to the project you are writing, to the activities that will be carried out. Another suggestion is to reflect really on what you want to put in the proposal, and which type of products and activities you want to implement during the project. Because another common mistake is to have these, let's say, classic work packages in which there are many products that then will never be used. For example, if I'm writing a project that does not have many events, then to have certain communication materials that are linked to physical events, it doesn't make sense. It's just, let's say, a waste of time and effort that can be, let's say, put towards something else. For example, if I have many online events, then a video or some other digital tools that can be more useful in this way. So we are always back to the tailoring to the project, and also to flexibility. Okay. to close, let's say, during the proposal, it's something to be considered is also the different timelines, because for work packages regarding communication and dissemination, they last the whole project, because they will begin with the project starts, and then they will end when the project ends, of course. But there are different, let's say, level of efforts. So at the beginning, in general, there is, let's say, a peak, because you have to develop all of the materials and set up all of the social media accounts or digital tools that you're going to use. So this is something to also remember. And it is very important to be, let's say, synchronized with coordinators or the other work packages to understand their needs in terms of communication and dissemination at the beginning of the project or at the various stages, so that you can plan accordingly. And if you know, for example, that you have a written deliverable right at the beginning of the project, then you know that you already have to develop something as a Word template for them to use. So in general, it is important to synchronize these parts. And okay, so the last part about project exploitation, which is, of course, the continuation of project results after the funding period. And it is connected to communication and dissemination because it also concerns target group, and we want to, let's say, build the awareness that the tools and the results that we develop during the projects can be used after that and carried on in terms of research and in terms of practical use. So in the work package, they usually have dedicated activities, separate tasks. So it's important to foresee them in the proposal. And something that it's really important is to have an alignment with the other work packages to understand which are the key exploitable results that we can use then to build an exploitation strategy. For exploitation as well, it is important to plan for barriers, so to have a reflection on which will be the obstacles to implementation of the key exploitable results, and of course remain realistic as well. For this, let's say, part in the proposal is a bit more difficult, let's say, because the exploitation is tightly linked to what is developed during the project. That of course is foreseen in the proposal, but then the implementation can always be a bit difficult. So we need to consider the adaptability and the flexibility that needs to be carried out for the strategic, let's say, exploitation plan. Here, just to close, I put a list of the most common mistakes that we see when proposals are written for communication and dissemination work packages. It is everything I already addressed in the presentation, so I think we can carry on. If there are any questions.
Thank you, Valeria. On Slido, we have no questions so far, but in case people will ask, you are here, so you can. Is there any question? Yes, 2 questions. There is the microphone.
Thank you for the presentation. Do you have any kind of more specific advice with regards to the lump sum projects in terms of the work package of the deck work package?
I mean, for this work package is pretty, let's say, similar for all of the type of funding, because it is an horizontal part of the proposals, and it has the same type of criteria, let's say, as other types. So I don't know which type of advice you were looking for, or
I'm referring to the timelines,
sorry?
the timelines. for the work packets? I mean, I have seen approaches, obviously.
Yeah. No, I
Split
was
it in
thinking
half.
because at the moment I manage also lump sum projects, but I don't see any differences.
A significant difference.
Yeah.
Okay, clear. That's fine.
It's always a matter of, let's say, Gantt charts and internal planning on what you are planning to develop. But as I said before, it is also very specific to each project, because for some projects you need a very strong initial effort, and then it is more, let's say, day-to-day activities, while in others there are peaks at certain times where you have huge events or you have many things to promote. So this, I would put the focus more on the specific project that you are working on, more than the funding, let's say.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. There was,
Yes.
Hi, it was more or less the same question. So maybe the suggestion is to have in any work package, when you have a lump sum project, some activity regarding dissemination and communication. Is that with different intensity, exactly depending on the main subject of the work package? Could be like that.
In general, for what are let's say organize the work packages, the activities are divided on the things that you produce mostly, or for example the organization of events. So this is also why there is confusion between communication and dissemination, because for example, some materials are the same, but then you are giving it to different people. And in general, it is difficult to give this idea from the proposal. And it is something that it's a bit more focused in the implementation phase, where the communication manager or the person who is managing that part can try to divide, let's say. It is also possible to divide in the proposal. This is something also that it depends from the person who is writing and if it's clear or not. I think there is another question in the back.
Good morning, everybody. I have a question. Do you support to communicate with the media and present results of the projects in media? Because it's a little bit topics which can be a little bit sensitive for the people.
Yeah.
So that's my question.
Yeah, so if I understood correctly, you're asking if we recommend... I don't want to repeat myself, but it's always on the message that you are trying to communicate. For example, if it's let's say, general message of promotion, so we exist, we are this project, then it can be useful, but it's also, I'm not going to lie, it's also very difficult, because for media in general, if they are not specialized, it's not European projects are not, let's say, priority of topics, but there are also some, for example, pages that frequently share other than the tools that like Cordis, for example. But in general, if we are trying to reach a wider audience, of course, is a good tool. But because we always use not the same tools, but for example, social media, we use it a lot because it's easy and in general is free. But there are so many tools that we don't use or that are less used. For example, now we are starting to see some podcasts, but I mean, it is an activity that can be implemented. We can also have like billboards. They are very expensive, but this is something that, there is no, let's say, limit to what we can do. It just needs to be, to make sense for what you are trying to promote, what you are trying to achieve. So if you have a project that it's highly sectoral, and you write in your proposal, we will buy a billboard, then probably the evaluation would be why you are not having you can reach the same audience in a more cost-effective way, let's say. Okay.
A lot of questions. We can take the last one for the time.
No, just going back to the tips for lump sum projects. This give us quite flexibility, and then you can even choose to design a dissemination work package different from the communication work package. And then I think this, normally we have thought communication and dissemination as a continuum and in the project phase, but I think that now in the project phase is good to have a very deep discussions on how the communication and dissemination is going to be performed within the project. Because if you have a dissemination campaign at the beginning of the project or a communication campaign, you can just put it like a different work package, and then you get paid for that. But on the other hand, if you are going to concentrate academic papers or things by the end of the project, you can even build a work package only for that kind of dissemination. So I think that lump sum funding give us more flexibility in this thing.
Yeah, I think it's true, and it's also coming back to what type of results your project foresees, because as I said, if you have a very specific target group that you want to have, as I said, a dissemination campaign, and you know that you have to promote it as much as possible, it makes sense to have separate activities. If you have different target groups and the same results you can achieve, for example, with an awareness raising campaign where you promote a deliverable or some guidelines, then it does not need to be separate. It's always a matter of what you are doing and how you want to achieve it. Okay.
Thank you, Valeria, again. It was a very interesting presentation. Now I would like to go to another part of the training. It is partially related to the presentation made by Valeria, since we are talking about, again, the section 2 of the proposal, so the one related to the communication dissemination and the impact. So my colleague Zale Johnson, partner in 75 and NCP in UK, will present the part of the training dedicated to the impact pathway. Usually researchers, but in general applicants can have some difficulties in drafting this part of the proposal. So please, Zale, the floor is yours for your presentation.
Thank you, Flavia. I'm hoping you can hear me.
Yes, we can, and
Brilliant.
We are seeing a website, not your presentation.
Okay, I'll just stop at the moment. Okay. Can you see my
Yes.
presentation?
Yes, we can. Yes.
And is it in presentation mode?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, great. Okay, somebody asked what a researcher was earlier on. I'm a researcher and I just class myself as a nosy person. I think if you're a nosy person, you're a good researcher. Okay, so thank you to Mikolai and Valeria for previous presentations. That was really interesting. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I can't be with you today. A clash of things going on in the UK as well. So I'm going to talk about the maximising impact in Horizon Europe, and part of that is the communication external to the project itself. So what is impact? So I see to understand what impact is, I see the hammer as the project and the nail is the actual, when the hammer hits the nail, the influence of that. So that's the impact. And the impact is the effect and action, the influence and the value of your project. So if you have a very good strike, your hammer is a good strike, your project will have a very good impact. If it doesn't have a good strike, then it won't have a very good impact. That's my analogy of what impact is. So understanding impact strategy in Horizon Europe. Impact is the effective or positive changes and the value that your project will generate. There are three main elements of the impact strategy, which are the scientific impact to create more research, the societal impact, which has a positive impact on citizens and their communities, and the technological economic impact for added innovation value. Impact and the impact strategy is an absolute essential element of your project proposal and your project, and it is a mandatory requirement. And it should be planned out at the earliest opportunity. It should not be an afterthought. And it should be, impact plans should be included in the proposal stage. And also, if you are a success and your project is successful, then you will add to that and it will become a deliverable. And it should be a strategy that actually maximizes the impact of the project. And we'll talk about how we can maximize that. It's already been discussed a little bit in the previous, by the previous speakers. And it should also be credible. Impact strategy should be credible. What do we mean by credible? It should be reliable. It should be sound. It should be valid, and it should be trustworthy. And it should be very believable to all that you actually communicate it with. And it should be effective and consistent and transparent. So there's a lot of adjectives there, but think about that credibility of your impact strategy. The project's impact pathway should be firstly directed by the work programme's expected impacts of the destination. These are your general goals and your expected outcomes of the core topic. They're your specific goals. And also familiarise yourself with the Horizon Europe strategic plan, because there's lots of information in there that will be able to guide and help you with your impact strategy and to understand. So start your impact plan as early as possible. So it's already been discussed about dissemination, exploitation and communication. But the communication is specifically external to the project. So maximising impact is attained through the project's communication, dissemination, exploitation plan, and also through the management of intellectual property, because of what you're saying and what you're actually displaying and illustrating to the evaluator is that you are planning for success. You're planning to protect your intellectual property when your technology or your service or idea becomes marketable and it's industrialized. So by having a good management of your intellectual property and telling the evaluator you're planning for that is also giving the evaluator an idea that you actually are planning for success beyond the duration of the project. Again, it's already mentioned that in some projects, topics, there is a need for SSH integration. There are some that don't, but when it does, mention this within your impact plan, because the integration will maximize your scientific impact and the understanding of your societal impact. All the work that is done by that SSH expert will help that impact and will have a more positive impact. So data produced by a project must be made available to others to generate impact. Dissemination and exploitation should be planned out from the very beginning, as this will facilitate the project's pathway towards impact. It will advance knowledge production and circulation, and it will support a more robust evidence-based policy making. It's not simply a tick box approach. So really think seriously about your plan. So an admissibility condition and a first version of your D&E plan and communication activity should be provided, as I've mentioned before, and be included in the impact section and contribute to the impact pathway plan within your proposal template. And we'll talk about that in the next few slides. And the projects will be evaluated on the suitability and the quality of your plan and how each of those will maximise the expected project outcomes. There is a video on the Funding and Tenders portal, which is geared towards those that do the evaluation of these types of plans, but actually from a project proposal point of view and from a lead consortium point of view, it's really good to watch that video because it gives you an understanding of what you will be evaluated on. So understand the key drivers for maximising the impact. So dissemination, exploitation and communication. So the project proposal must state the what, the who, the why and the impact. So results produced by the project that should be utilised by the stakeholders in order to generate different types of impact through dissemination, through your exploitation and through communication. So what are the whats? So dissemination is for further utilisation of project results. Exploitation is to further the research and innovation activities, and communication is to promote the project itself. So who is all these different whats for? So the dissemination and the project results are for the scientific communities and perhaps professional organisations that will use your project results to further scientific development. The exploitation can be used by standard organisations, by policymakers and industry and businesses. So that's looking about the innovation activities, how can they progress? And communication is the promotion of the project itself, and that can be to the public through media vehicles already mentioned by Valeria and I think there was a question, what do you communicate? How do you communicate it? You know, the border and the fencing of those is only in your own brain. So even speak to others that know how to do this, and you have a specific work package that can do that, and you will take on those expertise that will help you promote the project through various vehicles. And the why are you doing these things? To utilise the results in future work by the scientific community, to further research, innovation and commercial exploitation, again, beyond at the end of your project and beyond your project, and also to reach out to society and to advertise the benefits of the project and to actually bring society on board at the various earliest opportunity, so that there's no surprise at the end of your project and you're then bringing something into society and the communities in which they have no idea what you've been doing previously, and it's all a bit of a shock. So communication to those is really important. So the impact for dissemination can be scientific, the exploitation can be technological and economical impact, and communication has a societal impact. However, the scientific impact can also impact on society, and the technological and economical impact can also impact on society. So when you're planning this, be very clear. I mean, use this and write out in these boxes what you intend to do. It gives you a better idea and it manages your plan. So the D&C plan for your project. So the dissemination exploitation part is actually a legal requirement, as each beneficiary that has received union funding shall use its best efforts to exploit the results it owns or to have them exploited by another legal entity. So the dissemination and exploitation is under the Article 39 and is a legal requirement. So if we look at the different areas, so communication is about, as I said before, promotion of the project, dissemination is further utilization of the results, and exploitation is further research and innovation of activities. I'm not going to go through each of these, but please use this and read this and align it with your plan. So plan it well. So let's have a look at the project proposal template, because it's a very good document actually, because it's annotated and it gives you a really good idea of what you need in each of the sections under part 2 of impact. So for part 2.1, include the credibility of your project's pathway to impact. Say how your project results will make a unique contribution, something different, and what the results will be and in the immediate, or what you intend the results to be in the immediate short-term outputs of the project. The expected outcomes are the expected effects over the medium term, and the expected impacts are the wider and long-term impacts. So say what you intend your project to do and expect to see. Say the likely scale of that impact. How widespread will that scale be? What is the size of the group? You know, you could say, you know, this will make a difference to a number of different societal organizations in certain areas, in certain disciplines, and also mention this significance, the importance and value, e.g., is there going to be some savings of that impact and that contribution? And also say which specific target groups will benefit. As I've mentioned, interest groups, how many interest groups, which of those interest groups, mention them specifically, be specific. And there may be some segments of society. For example, it may be the elderly, it may be the young, be specific. And also mention about the scientific, economical, technological and societal impacts. Also mention the potential barriers and the requirements to manage these. These are not your overall risks of your projects, but these are the barriers to actually your communication, dissemination and exploitation plan. By mentioning those barriers, you will also display to the evaluator that you've thought about the risks. And then when you've done that, say how you're going to manage those risks. So you're thinking ahead and you're actually saying, I'm thinking ahead. So in part 2.2, include your planned measures to maximise impact, the activities you're going to undertake for your D, E and C activities, what target groups you're going to address, the scientific community, end users, the public. As I mentioned, this is an admissibility condition unless otherwise stated within your project topic. Also, once you've been successful, there will be a mandatory project deliverable. So at the beginning, you have to have a plan, and then also think about, if you're going to be successful, and I suggest you think about that again in advance, think about how you're going to deliver that and what your deliverable will be. And as you go through your project, you must update your impact plan as your project progresses, because these are 3, 4, sometimes 5-year projects. And so things may change. So tell the evaluator you will update this and look at it at intervals. And promotion of the project messages and the tools for communication, say what you're going to do, and also your strategy for the management of IP, of which you will need an appropriate consortium agreement. And also mention the list of owners of the results in the final report. So we come to 2.3. Now, in part 2.3, there are 6 individual boxes. So I'm going to take you through each of these. This is a summary, and this is your impact canvas. And this helps to tell the evaluator a little bit more about, or a more summarized event. And I can guarantee the evaluator will look at this. And if you impress the evaluator in these boxes, then they will be very happy and you will get a good score. So in the specific needs box, what are the specific needs that triggered this project? Tell the evaluator where the gaps are and what is needed. Examples: something that is faster, something that is smaller, more effective, more efficient, improved, more cost effective. The list goes on. But to be able to do that, you have to know what is out there already. So understand what gap you're filling and where that gap is and what are the specific needs. Do your research and provide the evidence that you know what that present situation is. The expected results. What do you expect to generate by the end of the project? Tell the evaluator what gap your project will fill that is beyond state of the art. So, for example, it may be a new service, it may be a new product, it may be a new training model, it may be a new system. Whatever it is that your project is doing, tell the evaluator that gap. What will be the difference between the present and the future that your project will make a difference? And evidence why something new is needed. And then the D and E and C measures. What dissemination, exploitation and communication measures will you apply to the results? Tell the evaluator about your plan. For example, the exploitation part may be that you're going to paint into a new model or a new product, and you may be offering licenses to companies to use your product. Dissemination, that you're going to inform the scientific community of your project's results and tell them how you will carry that out through scientific publications or at events or something like that. And also about informing relevant end users, e.g. police, border forces, first and second responders. And the communication part, tell the evaluator that you're going to connect with citizens through dedicated events, newsletters, conferences to explain how the outcomes are relevant to them and their communities. So know the differences between the D, E and the C measures. I know that Valeria's already mentioned there are differences, and sometimes it's not always clear, but I'm hoping that it's becoming a little bit more clear. And apply each of the measures to reach out to the specific recipients. Sorry, I'm going backwards. Next. I beg your pardon. And here are the next 3 boxes. So who will use or further uptake the results of the project? Who will benefit from the results of the project? This is your target groups box. So tell the evaluator who will benefit from your project. Will it be police forces? Will it be border force? Will it be first and second responders? Will there be local government administrations, policymakers, companies, industry, scientific communities? This way, think about the core topic participation criteria required for your topic. So, for example, if you're doing a topic under fighting crime and terrorism, you have to have police authorities as part of active beneficiaries within your project. So that may guide you to who your target group will be. And also what policy documents are relevant. In some of the core topics, the scope, they do mention about the policy documents that you follow. Is your work going to have an impact on them? Will it make a difference? What companies will be targeted for your particular technology or your methodology? And target the right scientific discipline as well. So the outcomes, what change do you expect to see after successful dissemination and exploitation of project results to the target groups? tell the evaluator what you expect the outcome will be for end users. So uptake of new discoveries, the service or product or system within operational environment, for the scientific community, further use of the new discovery to further developments, e.g. incremental innovation. And companies make use of the new product or system within their own manufacturing. So be bold about your expectations. Make this a joint effort. Don't just think of something in your own head. Talk to your consortium, your consortium partners, let them have input, bring everything to the table. And also look at the expected outcomes of the core topic as well. And then the impacts. What are the expected wider scientific, economic and societal effects of the project contributing to the expected impacts outlined in the respective destination in the work programme? So tell the evaluator what you expect the impacts to be. Scientific, new breakthrough, new scientific discovery. Economic, increased efficiency, reduction of costs, could be. Technological, a new marketplace, or improvement of the marketplace. And societal, improved living environment, improved way of life, improved things to make people's lives more easier. So be bold about your expectations as well. Make this a joint effort, as I've mentioned, on the outcomes, and use the expected impacts of the destination to guide your impacts. So we've looked at the project proposal template and some of the key elements that you need to be thinking about. But also, I think what's really important is visioning your project and the pathway towards impact. So I've set this out. So your vision is where you want to be at the end of your project. And that's your effects of your projects. So put a plan in to so that you can attain the vision. How are you going to implement that vision? So what I say to people is, first of all, look at the destination impacts. I'm actually using an example from the Security of Robust AI Systems, which was a call in 2023 under cybersecurity. And so the destination impacts were these, as shown below. There were 6 of them. So look at your destination impacts. So if you're doing a core topic under fighting crime and terrorism, list the destination impacts there. Once you've done that, because these are your long-term impacts, often post-project, then you have to ask yourself, what are the destination impacts that can be achieved through your expected outcomes of your core topic? So again, I've listed the 2 expected outcomes of this particular core topic. And then what you do is, for those, you then align them to the destination impact. So for example, security by design concept and resilience to adversarial attacks do align to point 1, 2, and 3. So you can actually draw a line across to those. Make a list. And the second one, inclusion of context awareness in machine learning to boost resiliency, can be aligned to destination impact number 2 and 6. So again, look at your destination impacts. This is where you want to end your project end up to be. Look at your topic expected outcomes and how they align to those. Then once you've done that, you can then set out a set of project objectives, because your destination impacts and your expected outcomes are not your objectives of your project, but they will help you to direct your project objectives. So you build your project objectives based on the impacts and the expected outcomes. And your work packages can then be built around those objectives. Also, once you've done that, set out who are your target groups, who is going to benefit from your work. Make a list, make the longest list, and then it may be that you might cross a few people off, but there could be end users, the EU, the scientific community, citizens and communities, policymakers. Make a nice list about your target groups. Once you've done your target groups, what are you going to deliver to those target groups? What are you going to be your project deliverables? Are they going to be publications? Is it going to be a new service, a new product, a new system? Is it going to be new training, new documentation? Again, list those things that you want to produce and deliver using your project. And then once you've done that, is your deliverables. How are you going to, what activities are you going to undertake for those deliverables? Scientific methodology has to be robust, proven and reproducible, but then, you know, determine on the type of action. If it's a research and innovation action, it might be a proof of concept. If it's an innovation action, it might be validation in a real life situation. You might do assessments, you might do demonstrators, analysis, testing, case studies, interviews, surveys, questionnaires. What are you going to do? What activities are you going to do? And only then can you decide what your inputs are going to be and the experts and the people you want involved to be able to do your activities, deliver your project outputs, identify your project target groups, and so on and so forth. So what I'm saying is work backwards. Don't start with choosing people for your project. Say where you want your project to be and all those activities and things that's going to happen within that project, and choose those people and the countries and the human resources and the time and the facilities that you will require to make that vision happen. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Zail. Your presentations are always well done, well prepared. So thank you very much for your contribution to the training. On Slido, we have not questions. I don't know if in the room we have some. Yes, we have one question. So Zail, please stay with us.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. It was very, very interesting. My question is about the management of intellectual property. Why, I did not exactly understood why it's so important in the impact. If you could develop a little bit.
Sorry, could somebody repeat that question? I didn't hear it very well. I'm so sorry.
Okay, I can repeat. So the question is regard the importance and the relation between the IPR management and the impact. So why the IPR management is important for reaching the impact, right?
Okay, so IPR is very important because if you're going to produce something, whether that be a technology, new information, you know, publications, you need to put ownership on it, and you need to make sure that that ownership belongs to the right people, and you need to have a plan to do that within your project to protect your consortium partners, protect your project, and to ensure that the right people are given the right sort of how can I say, to ensure that the right people who produce that work gets the benefits from that. Is that okay? And this is not just during the project, this is beyond the project. So you're also telling the evaluator and you tell the commission that you're planning for success.
If I may add, no, the IPR management is a way to exploit the results, no, of the project. So a way to reach the impact. So that's it. Is there any other question? No? It's not the case. Okay. Thank you, Zail. Thank you again.
Thank you.
So, I would like to see the slide. Okay, thank you very much. So now we are approaching in the last part of the training. This part is sort of information about the two networks of NCPs that are providing useful services for stakeholders in Cluster 3 regarding SEREN 5, and for widening participants, and you will see the presentation of the coordinator of WiderNet after my presentation. So, as you already know, I'm Flavia, I'm the coordinator of SEREN 5. SEREN 5 is the network of Cluster 3 NCPs. The project started in September 2022, and it will end next year in August. APRE, so the Agency for the Promotion of European Research in Italy, is the coordinator. We are 16 partners from different countries, as you can see in this slide. The project has a double objective, as a double phase, let's say, because on one end we are dedicated to improve and professionalize the work of Cluster 3 NCPs, so we provide a lot of services dedicated to Cluster 3 national contact points. On the other hand, we have plenty variety of services dedicated to Cluster 3 potential applicants and Cluster 3 stakeholders in general. As you can see in this slide, we have this general objective, so to improve and professionalize the skills of Cluster 3 national contact points, to simplifying the applicants' access to Horizon Europe calls, to raising the average quality of submitted proposals in Horizon Europe and specifically in Cluster 3, and to provide to NCPs community knowledge, skills, new competencies, etc. In this picture, in this slide, you can see a list of the major SEREN 5 services. So, as you know, we are the organizer of the Info Days and Brokerage in close cooperation with the European Commission and RIA, but we have other services, other activities that we can provide for applicants, and I will show you in details some of them in few seconds. The first service, the first tool we can provide to you is the SEREMA, the Security Research Map, but I have dedicated slides on this and I will show you the details in few moments. So again, we are the organizer of European Information Days. We organize these days each year, as you know, in conjunction with the opening of the calls, and this is the reason why you are here with us. And usually the Information Days are organized in conjunction with the brokerage events. The training we are here now, for which we are here now, is part of the services we can provide to Cluster 3 stakeholders. The trainings can be on Cluster 3 specific matters or on horizontal issues, such we have done today, so on horizontal topics. Furthermore, we are strongly committed in create synergies and networking opportunities with other Cluster 3 related bodies such as CERIS, IARTO, EOS and EXO. So we usually organize events together such as the SMIG that took place this year in Paris some weeks ago. In order to strengthen our relation and the relations between NCPs in Cluster 3 and security bodies and stakeholders. We are also committed in organize activities and synergies with the Enterprise Europe Network, so with an eye on a small and medium-sized enterprise and enterprise in general. And finally, we have plenty variety of communication channels. We have our website, as you can imagine, the newsletters. So I I would like to invite you to subscribe to our newsletter in case you would like to be updated on Cluster 3 news and events. And we have social medias, specifically LinkedIn and X. So now I would like to give a focus on one of our most important services, is the SEREN5 Project Idea Check. This service has been conserved to support applicants in Cluster 3 from the very early stage of the proposal preparation. So if you have only an idea, a very raw idea of your project, you can come to us, you can reach us, we can organize a meeting together in this way, so a 20 minutes meeting to discuss your project idea. You are asked to fill a form with some information about your project idea, and the NCP during the meeting can answer to your question, can give you some specific advice on how to proceed in finding new partners, in solve some issues within the idea, and lastly you will be contacted by your national contact points, because as you know, each European countries and each associated and third countries has its own national contact points. So to receive a detailed support, you will finally be conducted to your national contact points. If you are interested in this service, you can contact my colleague Yotam. I leave you his email in this slide. But now I would like to show you the security research map. Probably you already know this tool because you are registered in this database already, because it's the tool we use to collect the registrations. But probably you are not aware of how many things you can do within this platform. As you can imagine, the target groups of this for this tool are the research organizations, the universities, the public authorities, the end users, and so on and so forth. And it's a way to show your capabilities, to show your profile, to show your competencies and your experience in Cluster 3. This is how the website appears, how the database appears. Again, you are already registered, but I speak also to the people online that maybe are not registered yet. It's a one-stop shop to start your experience or to refresh your experience in Cluster 3 proposals, in Cluster 3 field in general, and to show your competencies and your expertise in the field. The first requirement to be within the Serema platform is to set up the profile, so including your past experience, your intention to apply in a certain area of Cluster 3, in a certain topic, and so on. And you can also invite other teams from your organization to join the platform to enlarge the community. The most important functionality, one of the most important functionalities you can find within the platform is the possibility to filter out the other participants. You can filter out them taking into account different characteristics, so the type of organization, the area of activities, the expertise, the country, and the type of EU project activities. So it's a very useful tool to find other partners. Now we have more than 1,300 people registered inside the database, so it's a huge number, as you can imagine. So many participants in Cluster 3 are there. So even the newcomers and also the well-experienced people are in the database now. It's also a way to be updated in some way with the SEREN5 future events and activities. And the most important things before closing this part that I would like to stress is that you can organize one-to-one meetings online with the other participants. You will have the possibility to organize these online meetings wherever you want from tomorrow on until the deadline of the Cluster 3 in November. So in any time you want, you can contact other participants and asking to book a meeting with the partners you will need to have on board in your consortium. In this slide, you can see the direct access of the CEREMA and the contacts of the CEREM5 partner responsible for the platform, and also the general CEREM5 contact. Before closing, and to connect my presentation with the Mykolai ones, there will be a online event. This is just a save the date. More information will come next week. On 28th June, we are organizing a joint event as a follow-up of the training we had today between CEREM5 and Net4 Society regarding SSH integration in Cluster 3, because we think that people should be more aware of the importance of SSH integration in Cluster 3, since it is requested explicitly by the European Commission in the calls. So we have invited coordinators that already integrated SSH in Cluster 3 successfully, so they can provide examples on how to manage this aspect in Cluster 3. So please follow the Net4 Society and CEREM5 website and social medias, and subscribe to our newsletters to remain updated also on this event. And also, I would like to close my presentation with only a reference to a video that you can see afterwards. The European Commission asked me to put this video because it's very important, especially for the newcomers, and for the ones that are applying for the first time. The video is related to the PIC, so the Participant Identification Code creation, so the registration into the portal, since it can be difficult for someone applying for the first time. So I leave you this link so that you can see the video afterwards. Okay, that's it from my side. If you have some questions, I'm checking Slido, but there are not questions. How can I subscribe to CEREM5 newsletters? Okay, there is the newsletter sections in the CEREM5 website. You have simply to click subscribe. It's very, very simple. Okay, if there are no questions. Okay.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Yotam. I'm Flavia's colleague. I wanted to highlight I'm responsible for the idea check service, and we still have some slots open for online idea check. So if everyone wants to get their idea check for free by an expert NCP from CEREM5, please talk to me, learn more about how we can get it done. And I'm here today, and I'm available in my emails as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Yotam. And Marta?
Yes, also I would like to invite you to take and use our leaflets in which you can find all contacts on newsletter, on CEREMA database, and etc. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marta. So now we have the last presentation from Katarzyna Buszkiewicz. I'm sorry for the pronunciation, Polish participants. And sorry for Katarzyna. She's the coordinator of NCP WiderNet project, and she will present us the opportunities for widening countries' applicants related to the project, provided by the project. Thank you, Katarzyna.
Thank thank you, Flavia. I hope you can all hear me and see me. Yes, I can see myself now. So thank you very much to Seren 5 for this wonderful opportunity to cooperate. And I will now try to share my presentation with you. I hope it works. Let me just put it in a presentation mode. Is it working?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So I would like to present you another NCP project, that is NCP WideEraNet, Transnational Network of National Contact Points for Widening Participation and Strengthening the European Research Area. It is a 3 years coordination and support action that started in April 2022. In the project consortium, we have 29 NCPs from 28 countries, both from member states and associated countries. And the objective of our project is, of course, let's say it's a twofold. So first, we aim to support the capacity and the effectiveness of the WideEra national contact points, and to improve the way they work and the quality of services they provide to the applicants. But also we have activities that aim directly to support the applicants and by thus improving the quality of proposals. And we do that, of course, by sharing good practices within our NCP community. And our ultimate objective is, of course, to raise the standard of support that the NCPs provide to the applicants. We organize workshops on proposal preparations, info days. We publish materials for applicants. We have 2 work packages dedicated to the ERA part of the WideEra work program. And within these activities, we organize ERA knowledge days and brokerage events. The next one will actually take place on Monday, 17th of June. We have a lot of publications dedicated to ERA calls, like ERA fact sheets, policy briefs, success stories, and also ERA opportunities document. In order to improve our own work, we organize meetings for NCPs, trainings, seminars, mutual learning workshops. We also have an informal meeting that is called Friday Chat Over Coffee. But in this presentation, I would like to focus on the 2 activities that we directly provide to the applicants. That is the matchmaking and the pre-screening of projects proposal. As a matchmaking activity, we offer a travel grants program, and I hope some of you present there in Brussels benefited from this opportunity to have their travel costs to the brokerage events dedicated to Pillar 2 and partnerships covered by your national NCP. We at the moment have 20 partners implementing this travel grants program, and they are all listed here with the direct links to the national calls, because this is a decentralized activity. We offer up to €1,000 to reimburse your travel expenses. The application process is fairly easy, and we also publish the list of upcoming brokerage events that are eligible for support. But however, this list is non-exhaustive. So if you find a brokerage event that is not listed on our website, let us know and we will add it. Also, within the matchmaking activity, we organized study visits to, let's say, advanced leading research organizations, because we believe that participants from widening countries that visit such organizations can learn valuable lessons and then bring them back home to share within their organization and improve their competitiveness. We are now implementing the 3rd one. So the first was organized in February this year in Spain, the 2nd one in May. So ERA Mays visited Finland, and we have 3 more upcoming. And to participate in a study visit, you can also receive a grant up to €1,000 to reimburse your travel expenses related to this visit. Let me now give you a bit more detailed information about the pre-screening of proposals that we offer. We have launched a portal called wideraexperts.eu. This is, of course, free of charge for the applicants. And the objective of this database is to matchmake the expert from any country with the applicant from the widening country that prepares proposal within the widening era, pillar to clusters, institutionalized partnerships, and EIC Pathfinder scheme. And of course, the objective is to improve the quality of these proposals thanks to the feedback that the applicants receive from the experts. So as you can see, all the cluster 3 calls that will open and with a deadline in November are eligible to be pre-screened through wideraexperts.eu. We have 726 experts from 49 countries registered now in the portal, but this number is steadily growing. And let me show you how the process works. So we have 3 actors here. First, we have an applicant, and this applicant needs to be a coordinator or a work package leader from a widening country. Here I have put the link to our website where you have a list of the countries that implement this activity. And this applicant needs to have an advanced proposal, meaning the description of work package should be like 70% ready and the consortium almost formed. When the second actor here are national contact points for all the areas that I have already named that we cover. And the third party is an expert, and these are experienced professionals, and the experts can come from any country. So the applicants must be from the widening country, but the expert can come from any country. And I encourage you to go to wideraexperts.eu and register your proposal. This is a fairly easy process, so you just need to give a basic personal information, organizational information, and then indicate the relevant area of Horizon Europe that you are applying to. You need to select the keywords, and this is the important part, because the matchmaking between the proposal and the experts is done based on these keywords. So you can select as many as you see relevant. You need to also indicate the call ID and the proposal ID from the Funding and Tenders portal and provide the summary of the proposal and other information that you think is important and relevant. And once you are matched with by your NCP with the expert, so the NCP, of course, signs a contract with these experts because the experts are remunerated to provide this service. And of course, this contract includes confidentiality clauses. Then the pre-screening begins. You provide the expert with the part B of your proposal. The expert analyzes this and organizes an online consultations with you. And also in the end, you will receive written recommendations on how to improve the proposals. And the remuneration for this service, this is up to €600 gross. This is paid from our project budget. So we have already implemented 63 of the pre-screenings. As you can see, Czechia is our front runner here in the process. And the feedback that we receive from applicants, because at the end of the process, the applicants rate the service, but they also rate the experts. So the next time an NCP selects an expert for the pre-screening, he or she can see how the expert performed. So the feedback is very positive. The recommendations were helpful. The experts are very dedicated and very qualified. So I really encourage you to use this opportunity and have your proposal pre-screened. And we are aware that the proposals are written at the very last minute. So the sooner you register your proposal and give us the information in this box for other information, when you will have your part B, you give us more opportunity and more time to find you a suitable expert that will be available at the moment when you are ready to send your proposal for pre-screening. Sorry. And I'm also leaving you here with our contact details. As Seren 5, we are also present in social media. We have a newsletter, and I encourage you also to visit our website, both the project website and the wideraexperts.eu portal. And if you have any questions related to our services, I will be happy to answer them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Katarzyna. On Slido, we have not questions. I don't know if in the room. Any question for Katarzyna? But in any case, we can contact you afterwards in case of any questions from widening countries applicants. Okay. Thank you, Katarzyna, again.
Thank you very much, Flavia.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So now we can officially close the training. I would like only to leave you a QR code to evaluate our training and our event in general.